How you guys doing? Welcome back to Country Mash. I hope you guys have been awesome. Today we're checking out Holosun's high-end Red Dot. So get those pinkies out. Alright, so before I dive into this review, I gotta ask you guys, when ammo prices are as high as they are right now, are you guys shooting and training as much? Or are you guys shooting and training at all? Or are you guys just sitting on your ammo? I'm really curious what you guys are doing. Like, put down in the comments how you're getting by this whole thing, because I know I'm struggling. I'm doing what I can, but it's not easy right now. It's really tough to, one, find ammo, and if you do find it, it's ridiculously expensive. So really curious what you guys have to say about that. Now, to the Holosun. Holosun is one of those companies, you guys know, they have their huge fan base of people who love them, and they got a lot of people who do not love them. So I understand their budget Red Dots. They fall in that category of, yeah, they're great for their value, but obviously, we can't say they're just as good as like an Aimpoint T2. They're simply not built to the same standards, and that's kind of a fact. It's not really an opinion. However, Holosun did start making some of their own high-end Red Dots to compete towards higher-end Red Dots like the Aimpoint T2. Now, I don't want to put words in their mouth and say that they started making them to compete at the Aimpoint Red Dots. However, they're definitely in that class, it seems to be. So, Optics Planet generously provided the Holosun HE515GT to the channel. They are giving you guys a discount code CountryMash to save some money, and again, every little bit counts when ammo is so expensive. So whether you guys want to save some money or just support the channel, using that code on any and all of your orders over at opticsplanet.com does support the channel. So I would greatly appreciate that if you guys keep that in mind. So moving on to the review, I'm going to go over the specs and details of the Holosun HE515GT, and then after that, I'm going to share with you guys my overall experience since I've been using it for a really long time, and I'm going to share with you guys some of the things I've discovered, because there are some things I do want to share with you guys, and I'm going to discuss some of the pros and cons. So, but before we do that, let's kick it off by going over some of those specs and details. So Holosun's HE515GT Red Dot is a 20mm red dot sight with a full titanium housing instead of your typical aluminum. It comes with a QD co-witness mount, a kill flash that hides glare, and clear lens caps on both sides. Holosun claims that it weighs 4.33 ounces and it's IPX8 waterproof, which means it can be fully submerged in water deeper than a meter. The turrets are capped and also protected by some of that titanium housing, and the turret adjustments are in half MOA increments. It takes your typical CR2032 battery like most micro red dots do, and it has 12 brightness settings, 2 of which are for night vision. You are able to choose between a green or a red LED emitter, but they are different models, so you can't have both colors in one model. It also has 2 reticle settings, one of which is a 2 MOA dot and the other one is a 2 MOA dot with a 65 MOA ring around it, just like an EOTech. It does have a 50,000 hour battery life with shake awake technology, which means if you have it on, it will turn off by itself after some time of not having any movement, and then as soon as you pick it back up, it turns itself back on. And right now, the current price at Optics Planet is $399, so if you were to compare this to some of those higher end red dots, this is definitely a more affordable option. Alright, so I've been using this Holosun HE515GT for quite some time now. I have a lot of experience with it. I've been throwing it on different ARs I have, and I feel very comfortable sharing my opinion and experience with you guys at this point. And so I'm going to go over some of the pros, some of the things and features that really stand out to me that I really like, and then I'm going to share with you guys some of the cons, because, like anything, nothing is perfect. So first, let's talk about some of those pros. And the first one being, the first thing that stood out to me was how crisp and clean the LED emitter is. I mean, compared to other more expensive red dots, dare I say the Trijicon MRO. If you guys follow the channel, you guys know I'm not a huge fan of that red dot. I love Trijicon, just not a huge fan of that red dot. This Holosun has a much crisper, perfectly round red dot. Holosun just in general is known for having excellent emitters, and so that is definitely something you will get in this model. Some other attributes that really stand out to me are just how rugged and durable it is. The titanium housing, like this thing gets thrown in the back of my truck. You guys will see with some close-ups that the finish has some wear on it, and there's some scratches on it. But man, this thing is tough, and just, you know, the way that I treat these optics during testing and, you know, take them out in the field, I'm not nice to them, and this thing has held up great. Another pro that really stands out to me is the glass clarity. And I mean that in a couple ways. Not only does it have the least amount of blue tint compared to other red dots I've used, but even just the actual glass clarity around the edges, an attribute definitely found on higher end red dots. And then to touch back on price, that is going to be one of the huge pros with this, is that it's just a lot more affordable than some of the other red dots in its class. But with all that said, there are a couple cons I do want to share with you guys, at least in my particular sample. The first one being the shake awake technology is very, what's the word, insensitive. Does that make sense? Essentially, when I set this down and I let it turn off by itself and I go to pick it up, it doesn't turn on unless I like really shake it really hard. And now I know that's just a sample issue with this because I've actually had a couple other Holosun sites in the past, not this model, but just other various Holosun sites that operated as they should when picking them up. You just, you pick it up and it turns on. That's how it should work. This one is definitely like you gotta aggressively shake it to get it to turn on. But for me personally, I don't really care about those features anyways. I usually turn them off because I like to leave it on all the time. That's my personal preference. So that's not really a big deal to me. That's not a reason that I would like return and exchange this, but I wanted to share that with you guys. The second thing is the QD mount that it comes with. This one, I don't know if it's just my sample or if it's just all the QD mounts that are shipping out with these guys. It seems to be that when you have to tighten it to your rail with an Allen key, and then once it's tight, you're able to use the lever to take it on and off. But when I tighten it just snug, just so the optic doesn't move around and it's not overly tight, the lever is then at a point where I can't release the tension, and it requires an Allen key to loosen it up. So it kind of defeats the purpose of having a QD, and so it wasn't usable for me, but I would have replaced the mount anyways just to get a little bit higher mount. So again, personally for me, the mount is something that was going to get tossed anyways, but it is something I want to share with you guys. So with those cons in mind, yeah, they could be a big deal for some people, but it's definitely not something I would let get in the way, because I highly recommend this optic. I think Holosun really knocked it out of the park, and Holosun is coming a long way in the kind of stuff that they're putting out, the quality they're putting out. They just keep improving and keep improving, and I'm excited to see what they keep doing because they're making some great stuff right now. So that about wraps up my review, guys. Hopefully you guys found it helpful. If you guys have any questions, you can leave them in comments down below. But the best way to reach me is at the Country Mash Facebook page and the Country Mash Instagram page. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, got something out of it. If you did, go ahead and hit that like button. Thank you to everyone who subscribed to the channel. I seriously love all of you guys, and you guys all rock. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. So this is kind of an afterthought, but I realized after the video there's probably going to be questions on the setup. So I will share with you guys. The suppressor on the end is a Rexcellentium MGX9. It was like an exclusive custom suppressor from Stockpile Defense in Boise, Idaho. The host that I have that on is a 9-inch 300 blackout from Bravo Company. It's their Mark II, that's why the receiver looks a little bit different. The light is a Streamlight TLR1. I liked the small form factor just due to the short rail, and it just gives you a little bit more hand space. The mount that I had swapped out and that I have right here is just an American Defense co-witness mount, which puts up the Holosun, I would say about lower 1/3, maybe just a hair under that. It's not exactly equivalent to being a co-witness, since this is meant for the Aimpoint T2 and the Holosuns are a little bit different, and so that's why I went with that. And then you know, Magpul M-Bus sights, SB Tactical SBA3 pistol brace, BCM grip. Nothing fancy, but you know, it all works. It's solid, it's proven, and this is my current home defense setup. So my setups do change, but this is what I'm currently using for my main home defense role, and I trust it. So yeah, I know that was an afterthought, but hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I'll see you next time.